concerned. And I think one has to distinguish between the two things. Being a participant, you play by the rules, whatever they are. And as a citizen, you should be concerned with making the rules better, even if they hurt your own interest. And that's what made me controversial, because I actually very often, even today, argue against my own interests as a hedge fund manager. But as a hedge fund manager, I would continue to do the things that I was doing, and I see absolutely not any trace of anything reprehensible in my speculation against sterling. And actually, it so happens that the British benefited from the breaking of the artificially high price. So actually, I did them a service, but I didn't do it. I didn't do it in order to do them a service.
Why didn't you go after the franc?
Huh?
Why didn't you go after the French franc?
Well, actually,
Okay. Next question.
So, Mr. Soros, I wanted to first thank you for your ideas that you've contributed to us about reflexivity and about imperfect markets. And I wonder if you could tell us, as MBA students and as students of finance, what tools or what ideas you think we can rely on or we can use in our own investment decisions.
Well, I hope to discuss that tomorrow with the professors in economics, because there's one thing that actually is untrue in my book about the new paradigm. It isn't yet the new paradigm. I work by it. I believe in it. I think it's right. It provides a better explanation of how financial markets operate, but it hasn't been accepted by the profession, and they haven't yet used it. I hope that they will, and they will develop the answer to your question. I don't have it.
Keep your secrets.
Hmm?
You keep your secrets.
No, I go by it, but I know how uncertain the world is, and I mean, as I say, it's really quite humbling that with all my understanding, I can't get it right in the market. However, I know that I may be wrong, and I'm out to correct my mistakes. So the reason that I had superior performance is because I correct my mistakes.
Mr. Soros, I'd like to propose an amendment to your mortgage restructuring plan that might help it overcome the constitutional problem. As you know, the Fifth Amendment prevents the taking of property without due process of law. But there have been examples in the history of the United States where there have been governmental interventions, such as foreclosure holidays, which have passed constitutional muster. My suggestion would be that when you write down the mortgage to 80%, 85%, whatever it is, that you give the lender, the holder of the notes, a contingent interest equal to the balance, or maybe even a premium to give them some kicker on top of it, which they would then have a first lien on, so if there ever was an uptick in the sale of the house, they would get that money back. I don't know if that would pass muster, but it would have a lot more moral appeal to a lot of people, because who wants to see people get written off mortgages on bad loans in the first place? And I think that's what I would suggest.
I think it's a very good suggestion, and I think it should be part of the plan.
Mr. Soros, I very much like your theory of reflexivity, but I think it has one fatal flaw when compared with market fundamentalists, which is that it doesn't have a well-formulated mathematical theory. There's no proof, there's no theorem or something like that. Do you agree, and maybe are you trying to do something about that?
This is the issue that I hope to resolve. Because it cannot be modeled the way currently models work. The question is, can you develop other models that take uncertainty into account, or the uncertainty connected with reflexivity? Or do you just have to add let's say, an extra provision for uncertainty on the existing models. That's what I would hope to see.
We'll talk more. I mean, we have most what's called Knight in uncertainty, which incorporates some of these elements.
Yes. I mean, I did read Knight, and I think we are coming back to Knight.
Yes.
You know, risk, uncertainty, profit. And the risk calculations have become so elaborate and so impressive that uncertainty has been forgotten. Now, how do you put uncertainty, which by its nature cannot be quantified? Yeah. How do you put that into a quantitative model?
We're trying. We're trying.
I'd be very interested. This will be the subject of discussion.
Yes,
that's why I came up here for.
Okay, perfect.
Mr. Soros, we've discussed or heard a lot about the bad mortgage loans and how they've contributed to the financial meltdown. And I'm just wondering, I haven't read much about the bad loans for mergers and acquisitions, which are absolutely enormous.
Yes.
And my question to you is, how much does that play in the whole meltdown? And also, how much of the $700 billion seems to be funneled towards supporting those enormous loans and actually continuing and expanding those loans because of the, at least in part, the incredible incentive that the executives have for adding to their bonus pool, and that's where their big profits are. There's a lot of structural incentive for taxes and accounting reasons why that continues. But I'm just wondering, what can we do to avoid continuing and even expanding that right now by the use of government money?
No, I think you're absolutely right. That's yet to come. In other words, that's a shoe that's yet to fall, because it takes time for those highly leveraged deals to mature, where the bonds are payable and they cannot be paid. So that is still to come, and I also agree with you that injecting money into the banking system by taking off toxic loans was an attempt to bail them out without appropriate public benefit. So it was the wrong way to go about it. And I think as far as the future, you will find that those leveraged deals will not be doable in the future.
I guess what I'm asking is part of the problem of corporations not getting credit due to the fact that they are so highly leveraged by past loans, and that we're just going to feed more money to support that and even expand it, because that's where the powers want it to be.
Well, look, this is facing us right now in the motor industry, in the automobile industry, where the alternative is to let the motor companies go bust with great unemployment, etc., or bailing them out. And I'm afraid that the alternative will be to bail them out. It will be probably additional to the 700 billion.
Mr. Soros, you made an interesting comment in the beginning when you said that we cannot predict the future and we'll always make mistakes predicting the future because it is mostly dependent on the actions that we take in the present. So in light of what has happened recently, do you think that the markets have spent a lot of time making models to predict the future rather than thinking about what actions they are taking?
Markets did what?
The markets have spent a lot of time making models to predict the future rather than thinking about the actions that they should be taking in the present.
Well, I do believe that the models which have become so influential, both in creating the synthetic instruments and in risk management, particularly the risk management models, were based on a false under